What's up? I got a haircut, as you can see. I kind of wanted to keep the long hair, see kind of where it went, but we had to cut it. Let me know what y'all guys think in the comments. So guys, today we're going to talk about new collectors, and I wanted to give some tips for people who might be just getting into collecting or stuff like that, because myself, I am a newer collector. If you consider like 1 year newer to collecting, and obviously I'm younger, so I think that myself, I can relate to those who are just starting out or maybe around my age, to kind of help them and to guide them to make some good decisions when it comes to comic book collecting. So I thought that'd be a cool video. So first off, the first tip I want to talk about, and this is easily the most important tip that anybody who's collecting comic books has to follow by: collect what you love. Don't feel like you have to get what's hot at the moment. Oh, X-Men's heating up right now. There's rumors of like an X-Men movie. You don't have to buy X-Men right now. Buy what you like. I'm a really big Green Lantern fan, so obviously the most books I have are Green Lantern books, right? Green Lantern is not the most popular superhero by any means. I'm a really big Street Fighter fan. I have a lot of Street Fighter comics. In the comic book community, is there a bunch of people that are out here collecting Street Fighter? No, but I love Street Fighter, so obviously that's something I collect. And I think that's something people just need to do more of. Collect what you love, what you grew up with, what is close to you. Just collect what you want to collect. Second one, and this is very, very important for the condition of your books: bagging and boarding. When you're getting a comic book, you may get it that is just raw, no protection whatsoever. So I recommend maybe getting some Mylar sleeves or some regular comic book bags, as well as some white boards, as you can see here, and some painter's tape. And these are all very important for the condition of your books. They're going to make sure that they don't contract any sort of dust or anything like that. The comic book won't like bend and like flop over because of the board. It's just going to add some extra protection to your books that you really don't want to have. Third tip, and this is also very important: comic books are everywhere. Go to local comic book stores, go to flea markets, go to comic book shows, Comic Cons, anywhere that there may be comics, even in like the most unexpected places. In your friend's attic, there might be comic books there, and you just gotta check those places. There could be some holy grails hidden in the most unlikely places, and you always gotta check them. Go to your local flea markets, go to local antique shops, go to mom and pop stores. You never know what cool, awesome comics could be just hiding there. Next up, and this is kind of more common knowledge, but I think I should mention it: get a box for your comic books. When you're collecting comic books, you can run out of space pretty quickly, especially if you're in a smaller room, don't have like too many options for storing your comics. So a good thing is to get yourself a comic book short box to put all of your comics in that you don't want to display, or just something to put them in to keep space for other comics or stuff like that that you need. Very, very important. Storage is a very big problem, and that's just going to add some extra convenience to you. Next one, I think this is also very important: let the hobby fund itself. Now, me personally, I don't subscribe to this method of collecting books, because I like to keep every comic book I have and just hold on to it. But I know a lot of people do this. They buy and they resell books. You can find books for 25 cents, 50 cents that might have no protection on them. Bring them home, clean them up a little bit. You could flip those books for $2 or $3, something like that. If you find books at a good price that is like a big key or something like that that you're not really that big of a fan of, you can trade that book for a big key that you want, or you could sell that book on eBay. And it's just kind of like a big thing to where, oh, I found a first appearance of Hobgoblin, for example, for like $3 at an antique shop. I'm not that big of a Spider-Man guy, so maybe I'll get that graded, and then I'll trade that for like an Uncanny X-Men 244, right? Something like that. You can let the hobby fund itself. You can trade books you don't want for books that you may want that other people might have. It's very effective, and it's a very prominent thing in the comic book community. I don't do that personally, just because I don't like to sell my books. But yeah, I know a lot of people do that. This one's also an important one for when you're displaying your books in a room like that. Keep them away from sunlight. Books can get discolored and lose their color if exposed to sunlight, unless you have some sort of protection on there, like a frame or a bag that is UV protected. But I know a lot of people don't have that, so just keep them away from sunlight. Make sure that there's some sort of shade that you put them in. You have a curtain on any windows that might be near your comic books, as to not loosen the color of your comic books and just lower the value and condition of your books. This one is another one. Always check the books you buy. If you buy something on eBay, or if you get something at a local comic book shop for a good price or something like that, a really, really good idea is to go through the book, check to see if there's any defects, to see why that might have been as good as the price, or just make sure you always, flip through your books, make sure that there's no missing pages, any centerfold tears, anything interior wrong with the book, because you never know. You could send a book to CGC and it looks perfect, there's not a thing wrong with it, but inside it's just a mess. There's a missing page, so you're going to get a green label. All sorts of stuff could go wrong if you do not check the books that you buy. So make sure when you do buy a book at a good price, or just anytime you get a book that's of high value, make sure you very, very delicately go through the book, make sure there's no internal damage with it. This one is a little bit for intermediate collectors, but I think it's something I could mention. Grading a book could potentially hurt the value of your book. You could have a very expensive book, something like the first Silver Age appearance of the Riddler or something like that, a book, and you look at it and, oh man, it's like a 6.0 copy, really nice looking high grade Silver Age book. This book raw could move for like, I don't know how much that book is specifically, but let's say it's like $1,000, right? $1,000 6.0 of that book, right? And then you get it back, and let's pretend this says like a 3.5, right? You get it back and it's 3.5, and you're like, well, how's it 3.5? But then that hurts the value of your book, right? All of a sudden, that $1,000 raw book, when you get that book slabbed, is now all of a sudden like a $500 book, So my advice for when you're getting a book graded and you're attempting to resell it is to, maybe if you think it's going to be in rougher shape, or you're not going to be happy with the grade that you're going to get, moving it raw isn't necessarily a terrible idea. One is also a super important one, and we're going to end this off with probably a very, very important one. Do not get FOMO. When you're collecting books, there is a big thing in the comic book community where, a book could heat up and you're like, oh my god, this book it's crazy right now. This book, everyone wants this book. I need to get this book. Don't feel like you need to get that. You can find that book in other places. You don't need to get it when a book is super, super hot at that moment. You don't need to get the brand new modern book because you think that there might be some key notoriety. Like, what's a good example? Superman 2. It was the first appearance of, I think her name is Misty Midnight, a brand new character. That book probably sold out, right, in hours when that book, when that hit comic book stores. You cannot find a book anywhere after day one because people are trying to get that book, and don't feel like you have to pay so much money for that book just because, oh, something new is out, something, a big key is happening right now. Don't feel that way. Don't get FOMO. Don't have to get what's hot right now. Don't have to pay so much more money than a book is worth just because that's the hot book of the moment, Don't get FOMO. Guys, that's kind of the video. Let me know other tips in the comment section down below for any of you veteran collectors out there. Let me know what y'all guys think. If you were newer to comic book collecting and you found this video helpful at all, let me know. I read every comment, so yeah, just let me know. Subscribe to the channel if you haven't already. A whopping 90% of the people who watch my channel are not subscribed, so do that. Share it to people that might be interested, all that stuff. It would really, really mean a lot to me. Also, description of this video, go check out my Instagram. That Instagram has been popping off a little bit too. Thank you guys for the support on there. And yeah, this video up to guys. See ya.